Well, good morning, everybody. How are you? It is Baltic here in North Yorkshire. My goodness, it is cold. Little bit of advice. If you go into the gym, don't wear shorts when it's this cold because you just can't get the rhythm. Your legs are numb, your feet are numb. It is not fun. And listen, everybody, if you're outside the UK, you are a lucky git. Listen, it's quite crisp, I have to say. The sun is slightly coming through, but it's very British and very Britain cold winter, which isn't fun. However, Merry Christmas to one and all. 5 days until the big day. But yesterday, we had Daniel Farke's press conference, which wasn't full of jubilant glee, I have to say. So we were talking yesterday and we were talking the other day as well about other bits and bats when it came to the selection. Now, when we're looking at the selection going into the Oxford game, it now throws up a lot of conundrums. Now, Oxford in particular, obviously the manager leaving, is there going to be a bit of a bounce? You expect that. It happens all the time. So I'm expecting some sort of reaction from the Oxford players at the beginning of the season. People will look at them thinking, flipping heck, they look all right. They look okay. They've not got a bad squad set up as well. And we'll probably get into that tomorrow in the watch-along and the build-up. If you do join me throughout, everybody, that'd be much appreciated. In the instant match reaction and your three things and all those bits. We're going to be getting into the other games as well across the weekend, which we've started to do on the channel. But the big thing Farke was talking about yesterday was the selection. He was speaking about Matteo Joseph, giving him 8 minutes and being really impressed with him. He was speaking about the goals that Joseph has forced against Middlesbrough and against Preston, which was great because you don't hear Farke talking about Joseph a little bit like that. I remember in pre-season there was people asking, scored 4 goals in 4 games and against the likes of Valencia and obviously the German sides who come up against Schalke, etc. What do you think about him? And he was very much playing it down, and to some people that's been vindicated because he's not got the rap sheet, the goals to back it up now. So maybe Farke was doing it in the right way to just play it down a little bit, you know, and the expectation on Matteo Joseph because of that pre-season has been very, very high. So listen, overall, it's going to be fascinating to see what he does in the striker department. Now, you'll see as well that I've got a certain individual on the thumbnail of which he brought on in the 63rd minute against Preston. Not only that, are we going to see a little bit of a replica of the January-December period from last season where Patrick Bamford became fit and he became an option for Daniel Farke. You know, we had Rutter, didn't we? We had Peru, and then Bamford came into the fold. Why? Because Peru wasn't doing the things that Farke wanted his striker to do on and off the ball. Now, we all know this. This is why Bamford came in. So, absolutely fascinating, of course, that we started the season as well with Joseph, because Farke clearly isn't 100% sure on Peru. That's what we can say. We know Peru has had he's had more starts, I think, than Matteo Joseph, but he's not convinced on him. And I don't think he's been convinced on him since we bought him. I really don't. I think we know Peru is a finisher, but it's the other parts of the game which Teemu Pukki had, which Peru doesn't have. I think we all thought it was a bit of an odd signing to start off with. Great signing by Leeds in terms of intention. And listen, his goals per game ratio at Leeds isn't bad whatsoever. But it's the other things which really make a system-based team, which Leeds United definitely are. So going into this one, is Patrick Bamford genuinely up for selection? Bringing him on in the 63rd minute, could it be getting him in the shop window? Is that what we're doing? We're talking about Wrexham, we're talking about Genoa with the new owners coming in and wanting to make a statement. Rich owners, apparently, by the way, as well. Targeting English players. Patrick Bamford, could he be one of those? Could they take the wages? Could they relinquish Leeds United? But it didn't seem yesterday. And look, we know that Daniel Farke is away with words. He did once call Ilan Mele the best goalkeeper in the Championship. But is there a genuine possibility? Because I thought it would never happen last season. But is there a genuine possibility? Because he's not sure on Peru, because he's not sure on Matteo Joseph right now, that Patrick Bamford comes into the fold. Let me know in the comment section below. Stranger things have happened, and that strange thing of putting him on in the 63rd minute completely dumbfounded me. Now, when we go into the centre-backs, this is where I am completely confused as what is going to go on now. Verba, out. Pascal Struijk 50-50, but that didn't sound good. Farke actually used the terminology major doubt in his press conference. Obviously, when we look at the bench as well, you got James DeBayo there, who he was really impressed with in pre-season, but once again, didn't want to hype him up too much. And you've also got Guy Lavogui. Ampadu is another selection as well. Now, with Ampadu, He's not played a lot of minutes. I think starting Ampadu's a massive risk. I think it's a huge decision to start Ampadu in this game. I really do. And I know what a lot of the calls are going to be. Start him, start him, start him. When he's played the amount of minutes he has, the first game as well, he was rusty. This game, there's no way he's playing him. There's no way. I don't think anyway. I'd be stunned if he played him. Now, there's a genuine possibility that Pascal comes back, but it seemed like a muscular injury, which has been difficult for him to overcome this week. So that's a big risk as well. You do not want Pascal to be out for a period of time. You do not want Pascal to get a Pascal injury, of which he's then out for potentially 10 to 12 games, which seems to be seasonal with Pascal. He's avoided that this season so far. Ampadu, I just wouldn't risk it. I just wouldn't risk it. So then it poses the question of Debayo or Guilavogui. Guilavogui has played centre-back in a back three before. He's played in a back two before. Could he come in for it? I think you've got to play him. I think Leeds are going to dominate the ball. I think we're going to be unequivocally on top of Oxford in tomorrow's game. And I genuinely believe if he goes with Debayo, it's a bit of a risk. He's not been exploited to many minutes. He's not even really come on and featured. Match fitness, where is it? Especially at this level. Guilavogui, I think he should say for option. However, he does give you the soul bambas about him in terms of his presence, his stature, his athleticism, his physicality. However, we've not seen him there yet. So Leeds have a bit of a conundrum. We have a bit of a conundrum. I don't know what Farke's going to do. I've got a bit of a feeling that he's going to remain with Aronson, because I think the consistency of the side is going to change. I think you might get Guilavogui at the back. You might even genuinely get Bamford starting. I've got a weird feeling about Daniel Farke. I've got a weird feeling about how he was speaking about Bamford. He was glowingly talking about him coming on before Joseph and 30 minutes before Joseph. And we saw at this point last year, he was questioning Peru a little bit, and he's doing it again, evidently. So many decisions, huge decisions to make for him this weekend. Will he just keep the consistency with Aronson in the 10, even though I think a lot of us think Aronson needs to be brought out? Nonto in the 10, Solomon in the 10, has to happen at some point. Ramazani on the left, James on the right. And look, Leeds can destroy Oxford, in my opinion, especially with Nonto in the 10 with his much better shot efficiency, better on the half turn, more consistent in that 10. I know a lot of you aren't a fan of him at the minute, but let's get him involved in the game more, which he will be in that number 10, because he's going to be central to Leeds building up vertically, which is what we do. We build up vertically under Daniel Farke. Get him in that central spot where he's going to affect games more. Ramazani back in there, and I think Leeds should be comfortable. I think whatever happens this weekend, Leeds will be comfortable, but I think with Guilavogui at the back, Oxford will definitely look at that and think that's maybe a target, just in terms of maybe potentially pressing his touch. And they're a bit of an unknown entity right now. A bit of an unknown entity. With the manager going out, it's a little bit up in the air, isn't it? But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Leeds United win tomorrow. Join me for the watch along. What would you do in terms of the lineup? It's going to be a bit mental, everybody. But it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you in a bit.